Well, this is another episode of Historical Markers, and I'm out in the middle of the woods. And apparently this next series of markers is about a 20-minute hike through the woods just to get to the trail that contains these markers. So let's take a look at these markers. They're all CCC markers. And the first couple of markers were not very far in, but these next series of markers, they're pretty deep in the woods. So let's see what they have to tell us. This marker is for the United States Civilian Conservation Corps and the Grundy State Forest. Few men have the satisfaction of knowing they have made a contribution in their lifetime that will last through the ages and touch the lives of millions. Men of the CCC know that feeling well. The Civilian Conservation Corps was launched on April 5, 1933, as a move to alleviate distress caused by unemployment through the establishment of a chain of camps where young men would work on forest and park conservation products and soil erosion on farms under the management of the Army personnel. They were paid $30 per month, of which $25 was sent home. They also received housing, food, medical, and dental care, as well as educational benefits. This marker talks about the home of the CCC Company, 1475, and it lasted from 1935 to 1938. And this talks about the Civilian Conservation Corps, which was a public work relief program to try to get out of the Great Depression. And so they had a wage of $30 per month, $25 of which was sent home to their family, so they were able to keep $5 a month. And the CCC companies were designed to be mobile and were expected to set up camp near the projects on which they worked. And I'm assuming that somewhere close to here, they may have worked in these very woods, I'm assuming. This marker talks about the company bathhouse and latrine. We had to keep the CCC boys clean, so they had a washroom, a changing room, a shower room, a boiler room to get hot water, and then it was actually sanitary. From the time of the camp's inception until it ended, the sewage from this bathhouse was treated by running it through a series of open pits that were dug into the hillside. And so the water coming out was cleaned, and if we look here, we can see that the actual foundation of this bathhouse is still here. You can see where everything was, and right here would have been the sewage pit. This marker talks about laundry and leaderships. The camp leadership was, when the camp was created on June 22nd, 1933, it began as a tent camp about 10 miles northeast of here, and whether by chance or design, the company had a number of different Army officers in charge, including a doctor who was shared with several other camps in the region. Education was a major component of the CCC's mission. In the early days, George Adams and William Metcalf led the company's education effort. Later on, that transferred to some other people. And then here on the right, you can see where they're uncovering the story of Camp S67. And here you can see is the foundation of one of the other buildings that they have found. Herman Baggenstoss and the CCC, a vision for good. As the camp superintendent, Baggenstoss had a vision for what the company could do. Even in its early days, while the company was located in Palmer, Herman knew there were bigger projects the company could tackle in the southern end of the county. So I guess he's probably the one that brought them down here. It says, "You are here." If we pan up, you can see there is a pretty big open space here out in the middle where the camp would have been located. And the things that we just saw are located just over in this direction. We came up that trail right there. This marker talks about life in Company 1475. It was clearly hard work, but as you can see in the photographs on the right, life in 1475 also built camaraderie, allowing these young men to develop important teamwork and social skills while having some irreverent fun in the process. Here we see the Barracks Area, portable buildings with permanent impact. Based primarily on photographic evidence, is thought to be the first row extending to your right of 4 barracks. So it looks like there were 4 barracks, 1 mess hall, 1 welfare recreation exchange building, 1 forestry personnel living quarters, 1 Army headquarters building, and 1 warehouse. And so those are believed to be, it says to my right, so that would be this area over here. A moment in time. You're a witness to history. This photo was taken from this exact location you are standing, which shows the CCC boys lined up for a roll call, as well as bugler company officers, a flagpole, and at least 6 buildings in the background. If you look carefully, many are hidden back in the trees, with only fragmentary evidence of these buildings has been found. It is clear from this photo that they were here. So if we look out here, we can actually see there is a flagpole still there. It is down low right now. It looks like it would need to be raised up, but that does look like a flagpole right there. And so they would have been out here to the right. A vital asset to the region. Dams, lakes, trails, tires, walls, wires, roads. It looks like the CCC worked on a little bit of everything. And so they put up electric, trails, fire, tires. Looks like a little bit of everything was done. And then if you look over behind me, this is apparently still in use today. It says this is the Herman E. Baggenstoss Outdoor Learning Classroom. And there are several logs set up here in a circle with a little fire pit in the middle. So it looks like that's still used today. Fire tires and fire prevention. For the CCC, fire prevention was a hot topic. Looks like a major part was wildfire prevention and control. What are these foundations? The 6-block-like concrete structures were anchors for the fire tire that Company 1475 erected here. So you can see there are some concrete foundations here, and there's a concrete block right over here. And this is where they would have built the fire tire on these foundations here. I do see 6 of them. The camp mess hall, kitchen, and well. Hard work required good grub. The camp's dining hall, or mess, a military term adopted by the CCC, was one of the largest buildings in the camp. Feeding 200 hungry young men, plus staff, required a large facility with a substantial kitchen operation, including a chef assistant, cooks, dishwashers, and many others. The cement structure with the metal pipes may have been the wellhead for the kitchen's water supply. They're a little unsure, but this is where the mess hall would have been. And here is the 2 wells with the metal pipes. Grease and discipline. No way out of a slippery situation. Directly across the perimeter road is a rectangular trough with its drain in the center. While no specific mention of this structure has been found, there is reason to believe that it was the kitchen's grease trap, which typically had a container sitting atop the concrete into which greasy dishwater and other kitchen effluent was drained. It says there are some other puzzling pieces around the camp as well. But let's go look at the grease trap. So there's the grease trap. Keeping it cool. Even in the age of refrigeration, the ice house still had a role to keep food cold. The CCC camp did have a modern refrigeration, but in those days, the ice boxes were small, and a kitchen that had to feed 200 or more people every day needed more food cold than even multiple refrigerators could hold. So apparently there was an ice house here, and here is the floor of what is believed to be the food cooler. What became of this camp? The community didn't want to see the CCC boys leave. In spite of local pleas to keep Company 1475 in Tracy City, the company was moved in 1938 to Camp S80 south of Sewanee, at the northern edge of what is now Franklin State Forest, where it was completed many projects, including part of the first modern road from South Pittsburgh to Sewanee, what is known today as Jump-Off Road. If you drive down US 41A to Cowan, you'll see guardrails and retaining walls built by Company 1475. Company 1475 was officially disbanded when the CCC program ended in 1942 due to the onset of World War II. Here at the beginning of the trailhead is the marker that we saw in the picture on one of the other markers that talks about the 21 acres along the big Fiery Gizzard Creek that had been donated by the Grundy County Conservation Board. So the rock is still here as well. And it's at the beginning of the trail. And here's the parking area for the trail, and there's also a picnic area. We are literally out in the woods here in the Grundy Forest State National Area. This is the Schoolhouse branch Moonshine still. Pure water plus corn plus remote location equals a valuable commodity. And it shows you how they were using the water here to make bootleg liquor or moonshine. It was illegal and a source of income for impoverished individuals in the remote canyons of the Cumberland Plateau. There are numerous sites within this park where the remains of moonshine stills can be seen. You can examine the remains of another larger moonshine operation on the Fiery Gizzard Trail near mile marker 6. I'm not exactly sure where the still was here. It's definitely a beautiful area. That was certainly an adventure through the woods, and I certainly hope you learned something. We're in the South Cumberland State Park, and so if you want to take a hike through the woods, you have to walk down the White Trail until you get to the CCC Trail, and then walk around the CCC Trail. It's about a half a mile back to the CCC Trail, so it was definitely a hike to get back here. But we certainly learned something. So if you're interested in seeing these markers, be prepared for a little hike. But I hope you learned something. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode of Historical Markers.